Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for August 11th, 2025. Shout out to Dave Scheffler, who sent in a $2 super chat, says, I'm so sick of Raw ending the same way every week. I hear you, Dave, and we will talk about the ending of Raw. I definitely have my opinions on the show. You might agree with me, and some out there may be upset, but I will call it how I see it when it comes to any wrestling show, whether it's Raw, AEW Dynamite, SmackDown, you name it. I will give my opinion, my fair, balanced opinion on the shows, and that's what we're here to do. Discuss Monday Night Raw in its entirety. Stay tuned for my thoughts, Dave. We opened up the show with an announcement from Michael Cole. Naomi, the women's champion, unable to compete and defend her title against IYO SKY. Now, they did not say why. She is just not cleared. Now, the wording of this makes me think it's an illness rather than an injury, maybe COVID, maybe the flu. Hopefully, it's nothing too serious and she'll be back in the near future, but she was off of this show with no official reason given other than she was just not cleared. CM Punk came to the ring. This show took place in Quebec City. They were hot for Punk. He talked about how he should be the world champion, but he has a Seth Rollins problem. He vowed to take the title from Rollins specifically, and he also said he will break Rollins' legs. Now, LA Knight came out. LA Knight, of course, fought for the world title last week, but Punk interfered, causing a disqualification. Remember that for later. Knight offered a handshake and basically said he doesn't want any problem with CM Punk. However, Punk needs to step to the back of the line. Knight said once he gets the title from Rollins, Punk can be the first guy to lose tonight. Now, Punk wasn't too thrilled about that. He said he's actually been champion, unlike LA Knight. And then Knight said Punk is not on his level. And then Paul Heyman interrupted the festivities. Paul Heyman with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, who is the tribal thief, holding the shoes around his shoulders. Now, Heyman had an idea. He was speaking in French to get some heat, and then he suggested a tag team match, which Punk accepted, and LA Knight, he didn't like that Punk spoke for them, but also accepted. And then Braun Breaker had the funniest line of the segment. He said that CM Punk is 47. What is he going to do? And then he also brought up how LA Knight is 40. They're like 100 years combined. Braun was funny here, and we even got a little Steiner math, although 47 plus 40, don't think it quite equals 100, but we get the point from Braun Breaker. He was great here. Segment was standard. It's the usual, can they coexist main event? Could CM Punk and LA Knight work well together? You know, this whole routine. Shout out to D. Martin Fifth, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, the team of Braun and Bronson sounds like a law firm office name. I agree. It does sound like something you would hear in a commercial. Braun and Bronson Incorporated or something like that. We had our first match of the evening, which was AJ Lee and Dragon Lee versus Dominic Mysterio and El Grande Americano. Now, before we got to the match, we had a segment in the clubhouse, and Finn Balor, Dominic had a conversation, and they were talking about Triple Mania, and Balor was hopeful that Dominic could bring the AAA Mega title to the Judgment Day. And then we had our tag match. But before we get to that, shout out to Walter Cruz for a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Hope you're doing well. Walter says, WWE makes a big deal, then gives us 3 subpar events in a row. 2 Mad Raws, 1 iffy SmackDown. WWE should put its best product forward right now, leading people to ESPN. It's August. We're past SummerSlam, and this is typically one of the slower periods in WWE. When football season gets started up again, it's a lame duck season. Unfortunately, I feel like the shows don't really have the most impact. It's a slow period, and I feel like it will largely be that way until Survivor Series. And then after Survivor Series, things will slow down until the new year. That's just how I see things. And it doesn't really look like anything's heating up as far as storylines go. Apparently I said AJ Lee instead of AJ Styles. Whoops. It happens when there's more than one AJ. Just be glad I didn't say the AJ from the Costco guys. Be happy I didn't say his name instead. Then you'd really have to check my sanity and wonder if I'm truly losing it. All right, let's get to the tag match. And thank you guys for the super chats. Yeah, Braun and Bronson, as CM Punk put it, the Bronze. Thank you guys for the super chats. Let's get back to the tag match. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Dominic and El Grande. The crowd was chanting Ludwig Kaiser at El Grande Americano. How dare they? And they were also singing for Dominic Mysterio. They were loving some Dom. And it was a back and forth match here between these two teams. At one point, Dominic tried to rip off, I should say, the mask of Dragon Lee, the typical heel tactic. And then Styles went after Dominic, sent him over the barricade. Styles got the hot tag. We got a double team. Dragon Lee with the monkey flip turning into the Styles clash onto Dom. Then El Grande Americano got involved. He knocked Lee off the top rope. He tried to put the plate in his mask, but it fell to the floor. However, Dominic was smart enough. He's a smart heel. Gets that plate and puts it in his mask. Dominic has his own mask, and Dominic was able to headbutt AJ Styles, and then Americano rolled up Styles and got the 1-2-3 victory. It was a solid match. Hyped up the AAA show a little bit. I liked it. No multiple El Grande Americanos, just the one guy. I think the focus here was just on the 4-way match that is set up for the AAA Mania this weekend. We had Sami Zayn backstage with Adam Pearce. Sami Zayn still wants a world championship opportunity. Excuse me. Water went down the wrong way. We're live, pal. Adam Pearce said maybe they could have a talk after Zayn gets through Rusev. And then Sheamus came in, and Pearce said that we cannot have a repeat from last week with Sheamus and Rusev brawling all over the place. And then Sami Zayn asked Sheamus nicely to please not get involved in his match, and Sheamus said he would stay out. Zayn had his word, but Sheamus did note that the second the match is over, Rusev is his. Backstage, IYO was upset because she lost out on her title match. She talked to Adam Pearce, and Pearce said that he'll try to get some more information to her when he can. And then Roxanne Perez and Raquel came in and mocked her. So, of course, we have a match set up between IYO and Roxanne. Am I the only one that thinks these segments are really lazy? I mean, yeah, they had to come up with something, but just setting up a match between people when somebody walks into the interview and interrupts it and it turns into a match, it just feels so lazy to me, and they rely on it so often to set up matches. It doesn't feel organic at all. It feels very scripted. Oh, wrestler 1 is cutting a promo backstage. Wrestler 2 walks in and takes a shot at them, and then they just happen to have a match set up. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. In this case, they had to come up with something for the match, but they do these types of segments all the time, and I'm not a fan. And it's starting to become very overdone, like almost like contract signing level, or one of these other type of segments, the interruption segments, just overdone. We had our next segment, which was Sami Zayn versus Rusev. Now, when this match started, I was thinking, well, I don't see Rusev losing, and Zayn's not going to lose in Quebec, meaning we are probably getting shenanigans. And guess what? That's exactly what we had. They were having a pretty solid match, you know, the powerhouse versus the smaller guy with the speed, and it was back and forth a bit. Rusev was mocking Sheamus doing the 10 beats. Then Sami Zayn built up some momentum. He did the exploder in the corner and then went for the haluva kick. But guess what? Brand split be damned. MFTs interfered, causing a disqualification. Feels like we're starting to get a lot of DQs again, too. This was something that was notorious during the Vince McMahon era, where they would just do DQs constantly. And I feel like when Triple H took over initially, they cut back, but now it seems like they're starting to rely on the DQs again, doing these non-finishes. So yeah, MFTs are out there. And then, of course, Sheamus was a man of his word. He ran out there and attacked Rusev, and they brawled into the crowd. I hope they do this match for Paris, at least, you know, if they're going to do the blow off to their feud. They really should have a match in Paris. Backstage, New Day and Grayson Waller vented about Penta because Penta was wearing Xavier Woods' hat last week, and Pierce said the next week Xavier can face Penta in a match. So there you go. Then we had a little video from Bronson Reed. He said he doesn't want Roman Reigns' respect. He punked out Reigns twice, and Reigns will acknowledge the tribal thief. Definitely feels like they're building up towards Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed at some point in the near future. Then we had IYO SKY backstage with Asuka and Kairi Sane. Asuka and Kairi wanted to help out and be at ringside, but IYO said she was going to do it on her own. Thanks, but no thanks. And we did have IYO versus Roxanne with Raquel out there, so IYO was risking having to deal with Raquel by herself. They were having a pretty good match, I thought. And we did have the interference from Raquel, but IYO was able to take out both of them. She did this springboard moonsault to both of them on the outside of the ring. And then she got Roxanne back in the ring, and she went for a moonsault, the over the moonsault, but Roxanne got her knees up, and IYO had a really nasty fall. Hopefully she wasn't hurt too bad from this one. It looked brutal. And then we had Asuka and Kairi Sane coming down when Raquel got on the apron. So they really didn't honor the request of IYO SKY. And then sure enough, there was a miscommunication. IYO almost hit them, but then Roxanne pushed IYO into Asuka and Kairi, knocking them off the apron. And then Roxanne rolled up IYO, fruit roll up, got the 1, 2, 3 victory. Match was good. The moonsault was a little scary. And then, yeah, we had the typical interference, setting up what I think is going to be some sort of a split, maybe a heel turn from Asuka. I agree with this comment here from Kurapika. I think Kairi and Asuka will, at least Asuka will turn, because they had a backstage segment. IYO was upset, and then Asuka just shoved her and walked away. And Kairi was kind of like, not sure what to do, and she did leave with Asuka, but yeah, she might be stuck in the middle for now. Definitely seems like we're getting some sort of a split within the former Damage Control members. We had another women's matchup. We had Becky Lynch and Maxxine Dupri. Kind of a snooze fest to me, because we know Maxxine's not winning, and it's not going to be Razor Ramon versus 1, 2, 3 Kid, nor should it. So it was kind of just a throwaway match. You had Natalya and Tozawa out there, and Becky was trash talking, saying, "You don't deserve to be in the ring with me." Maxxine attacked Becky and brought the fight, but after some back and forth counters, I mean, Maxxine even got the ankle lock on, but Becky got out of that. And then Becky was able to pick up the win with the disarmer. It went about exactly what I expected it to be. And then Becky took a cheap shot at Natalya after the match. Now they're setting up Becky versus Natalya, and we know Natalya's not winning the title from Becky. So I don't know. This storyline with Becky as the women's IC champion just doesn't interest me much. And her new music is all right, but her old music was way better. Better than Def Rebel, but not much, I have to say. I'm kind of over it already. It's not. I thought it was interesting the first time when I heard it because it was something different, but now I'm already losing interest in it. Backstage, we had main event Jey Uso. He's back after missing a week. He said that he has to handle family business, and he said he's going to get some receipts on the Vision. He wants his world title rematch. Then LA Knight confronted him and said he respected Jey, but Jey needs to get to the back of the line. And yeah, I don't even know what's happening with Becky and Nikki Bella, by the way. They were teasing a feud, and as Jerry said, maybe Nikki got destroyed on the mic so bad they just decided to not bother. No Nikki whatsoever on this show. Nothing with her. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it seems like they're setting up. I mean, maybe they're going to do the Natalya match, and then and then Nikki shows up to set up the match with Becky Lynch for the women's IC title. So yeah, Jey is back. He is in the mix again. Backstage, we had Seth Rollins giving a pep talk to the Vision. And then we had a video from Bayley. So Bayley's very upset. She feels nothing. She's all by herself now. She's not proud of her actions, and she blames it all on herself. Then Lyra Valkyria was interviewed backstage to get her reaction to Bayley's promo, and Lyra basically had no sympathy for Bayley. Lyra said she meant what she said about them needing to go their separate ways, and once again made it clear that Bayley is on her own. I have to say, I do not care about this storyline whatsoever. I really don't. Then backstage, Stephanie Vaquer, who was supposed to get a match at Clash in Paris for the women's title, but we don't know what's up with Naomi. She told IYO that IYO was not the only one promised a title match, and then Rhea Ripley approached IYO, said Asuka and Kairi should have listened to IYO, and IYO was upset at Rhea, saying that it's none of her business, basically, and told her to stay out of it. Then we had our main event of the evening, which was LA Knight and CM Punk going up against Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, Braun and Bronson Incorporated. We had the bad guys jumping the good guys before the match could even get going, but Punk and Knight recovered, and they were actually doing well, so they did, in fact, coexist for a while. They double clotheslined Reed out of the ring, but then after the break, bad guys got the upper hand for a while. Braun Breaker clotheslined LA Knight over the announce table, and Reed was taunting Roman Reigns, doing the one, and then they did the big bulldog move to LA Knight, a tribute to the Steiner brothers, with LA Knight on the shoulders of Reed, and then Breaker comes off the top of the bulldog. Eventually, Punk got the hot tag, and he was mocking the barking of Braun Breaker, and he came off the top of the big elbow drop and was on the verge of going for the go to sleep. But then guess what happened? Seth Rollins, who earlier when he was doing the pep talk, he said he was going to get on his jet and let them do the match. We all know what that means. Every time somebody says that, they're always out there at the end. And sure enough, Rollins comes out there and we get another DQ on the show. Jey Uso comes out there with a steel chair. Adam Pearce shows up, and he said he sees an opportunity at Clash in Paris. It is going to be a four-way match. Seth Rollins defending against Jey Uso, LA Knight, and CM Punk, i.e. Royal Rumble 2024, i.e. every single premium live event with a four-way match where the champion is at this disadvantage, but he's going to end up retaining the title anyways. It's filler. It's another filler match. Crowd chanted OTC. No Roman Reigns. He's doing his movie, or about to do his movie. Actually, he's on the show next week. Never mind. I forgot. He's actually part of Clash in Paris, probably facing Bronson Reed because they were setting that up. And then Punk and Knight were fighting. Jey Uso tried to separate them, but he got elbowed by Knight. Then the Vision came in the ring. I hate that name, by the way. Should have been Dangerous Alliance. I think I'm going to still call them Seth Riders because I don't like the Vision. Seth Riders got in the ring. Kind of felt like the Death Riders. We're getting the same beatdown segment every single week here. They all beat up the challengers for Rollins. We got the spear from Braun Breaker to LA Knight. Jey Uso got the tsunami. And then Rollins did the curb stomp to CM Punk and said that Punk will never hold the championship again. And once again, the Seth Riders stood tall to end this episode of Monday Night Raw. Yes, shout out to Papa Gino, Seth Riders. This may be unpopular because WWE, they're doing great business, but man, I thought this was a fairly boring episode of Monday Night Raw. It's just not hitting for me right now. And maybe it is the fact that football season's coming up and we got Clash in Paris. I was hyped for Clash in Paris. Here's the problem. Before SummerSlam, I'm thinking, yeah, Clash in Paris is going to be awesome. You know, we're going to maybe get Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. Maybe we're going to get John Cena versus a big name. Maybe we would get John Cena versus, I don't know, anybody but Logan Paul. And we got Cena versus Logan Paul, which is a filler match. We got Seth Rollins defending in a four-way, which is a filler match. Oh, Cena versus Brock Lesnar at Clash in Paris. That was what I was thinking. So Rollins has a filler match. Cena has a filler match. Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed will be good, but it's another filler match. it feels like Backlash France, like it's coming off of a major show and they're just giving the crowd a filler pay-per-view. That's really what it feels like. Matches I would like to see, I'd like to see Rusev versus Sheamus and maybe AJ versus Dominic in a rematch, but I don't know if we're even getting those matches in Clash in Paris because they only like to do like 5 matches. So we'll see if we even get any bangers, as Sheamus would say. But I feel less hyped for Clash in Paris than I did when this show started. So I actually think this show was negative as far as its effectiveness went, at least for me. I'm just one person. This is my review. It didn't do much for me. I am giving it the Bret Hart 4 out of 10. Raw's lacking. Like, Raw to me right now is the least interesting it has been since the move to Netflix. I'm not feeling much of the storylines, and I know WWE's hot right now and they got the momentum, but I feel like they're just relying on too much of the same thing, the constant DQs and, the backstage segment, wrestlers cutting a promo, some random person walks in, makes fun of them, and they set up a match. Like, it's getting really boring to me. I think Braun Breaker with his math comment was maybe my favorite thing on the whole show, and it really shouldn't be that. So yeah, 4 out of 10. Raw on Netflix is starting to really cool off for me. Shout out to Building Nexus, who sent in a $2 super chat, says, could Seth Rollins win via a new member in Paris? I guess he could, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll just manage to bend the rules. I mean, does he really need it? Do you really need to make the champion look that weak that he can't even win with the help of his main 2 guys and he needs yet another person in there? I mean, that's Solo Sikoa shit. I don't think you want to make your world champion look that weak. I mean, he'll probably win with some kind of shenanigans anyways. I don't know if they're going to add any more people. I mean, they might need to if they're doing war games, but I guess it's a possibility. I just don't see it happening. All right, guys, that's all I got for tonight. I really hope they can shake things up a little bit. I mean, SummerSlam had some interesting moments, but now it's starting to feel like football season's approaching and it's going to be the lame duck period until we get to Survivor Series. I hate to say it, but that's my gut feeling right now, and my hopes are not high for the next several weeks. Even with the international shows, like if WrestleMania season is any indication, they didn't put much effort into those European shows right before WrestleMania. Like, they felt like glorified house shows. They didn't even feel like on the road to WrestleMania quality episodes of Raw. So I'm not really expecting much, despite WWE set for more European dates. I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope they kick things into high gear, but we'll see what happens. All right, guys, have a great night. Enjoy your week. We'll see what happens with Karrion Kross. I think Michael Cole might have mentioned him on commentary when talking about Sami Zayn, but beyond that, nothing about Kross. I don't think he's going to appear on Dynamite, but I mean, back in the day, anything was possible in wrestling. Now, we really don't get to see those kind of moments. I'd love to see Kross on Dynamite, but I would not bet money on it. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your week. Stay safe out there. NoDQ.com will keep you posted. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.